Hey everyone, welcome back to Sniffer Dev channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to create a stunning Glassmorphism card using the power of Tailwind CSS. Glassmorphism is a super trendy design that gives your project a modern frosted glass effect, and the best part, it is quick and easy to achieve with Tailwind CSS. But first, if you are new to Tailwind or want to follow along, I'll guide you step by step on how to install and set up Tailwind CSS. So before we set up Tailwind CSS, let me show you what we are going to create. Here, this is what we are going to create with this nice gradient background and then this frosted glass effect card and then those effects on the button. So this is what we are going to create. To achieve this, we need to install Tailwind CSS. So we are going to use the documentation from tailwindcss.com. So tailwindcss.com. So let's use the documentation to install Tailwind CSS. So we'll go here, install Tailwind CSS. So we'll copy this and then head to your code editor at the terminal and then paste it there and then hit enter and wait for some few seconds to install. So you can see once it has installed, it creates this tailwind.css tailwind.config.js. So let's go back to our inside this tailwind.config.js. We need to add this. So we are going to copy as it is, then head back to our tailwind.config.js. Inside the content, we will paste that. So we'll paste that, and then we will have to create a folder called SRS. So let's create a folder called SRS. This is the folder that will hold all our templates, and then let us create another folder inside SRS, call it CSS. This one will have all our CSS files, that is input.css and output.css. Inside the CSS folder, let's create another file called input.css. So input.css, let's go back and copy the directive of Tailwind CSS. So we'll copy these directives and then inside here we'll paste those directives. Okay, so once we paste those directives, now the next part we need to run is this command. So we need to run this command. So I will copy the command. This is a CLI tool to scan your template files from classes and build your CSS. Before we do that, let's create our HTML file. So let's call it glass.html. Let me create a boilerplate, give it a title Glassmorphism. Let me have a head h1 tag and say glass effect. So once we have that, we can now run that command npx. Let's now go back to the documentation of Tailwind CSS. Let's copy this and CLI build CLI tool to scan all template files. So let me copy it as it is, but we need to change now since our input.css is in our CSS folder. So we need to specify that, and also we want to specify where our output.css will be created. We want it to be created inside CSS folder. So basically here, this is our input. Input, the flag I stands for input, so we are directing Tailwind where to find our input directives. We say SRS, inside SRS go to CSS, and inside CSS input.css is this is where you will find our Tailwind CSS directives. And then we have O flag. O flag means output, and then we give it a directory path where it will output our CSS. So for example, here we have SRS, and inside SRS we want CSS, and inside CSS output our our Tailwind CSS stylings inside this file called output.css, and then we have this watch flag. This watch flag is important because it makes changes whenever we make changes immediately without having to run this command again. So having done that, let me hit run, hit enter, and then you can see it has built, and you can see we have output.css. If I open it, you will see a lot of CSS styling being generated at fly. We didn't have to write all these. And then let's go to our template. Inside our template, we need inside our template between inside our head tag, you need to specify your output.css. So we'll use link, and then here we'll specify where to find our output.css. Okay, so you can see that. Now let's try and see if Tailwind CSS has been installed correctly. Let's change for Excel, and then let's go to the server, open that, so you can see, and then let's try to underline that, say underline, and see if the changes reflect immediately. You can see. So that means that Tailwind CSS has been installed correctly. Now let's dive into creating this Glassmorphism card. So let me delete this. So let me define a div, outer div class, and then let me have another div, and then let me have a h2 tag, and inside that h2 tag, let me say Glassmorphism card, and then below that, let me have a p tag, and then let me have some statement like this card demonstrates Glassmorphism effect using Tailwind CSS. It has a frosted glass appearance with smooth edges and a blurred background. So this will be our card. So this will be our card, and this will be our outer div. So without further ado, let me add a button just below this, and say button, and this button I will say something like learn more. So let's see how it looks at first. So this is how it looks. Now we need to transform this. So what we need to do, so setting up this Glassmorphism card. Now that Tailwind is installed, let's build this Glassmorphism card step by step. We'll start with the outer container. This container, this is what we'll start with to give the card a beautiful gradient background. Now let's give that background to the outer container. So we'll say class, and let's have mean height of screen, which takes the screen viewport, and then let's have flex. Let's center the items center. Let's justify center. We want to center that card. Let's now have a background. Let me close this. Let's have a background of gradient. Say 2, and let's define the color of that gradient. Let's say from blue 500, and then we want to have a middle color as well, so we'll say via purple, say purple 600, and then let's have the end of that background, say 2, pink 500, and let's have a padding of 5. So here we have managed to have the viewport of the screen, flex, item center, justify center. We have the background gradient, which starts from the blue via purple and then ends at pink 500 and the padding of 5. So let's see how it looks. This is how it looks now. We have centered this, and then we have this gradient which starts here with blue, and then we have purple in the middle, and at the end we have pink. Now let's style the second div, now the card itself. So the card, let's start with the class, say relative, and then let's have a background of background, let it be white, background white. Let's have a ratio of 10, and then let's have a backdrop. We want to have a backdrop blur. We need to blur the background, so backdrop blur to be LG, let's say LG. And then let's have a shadow, say shadow LG as well, shadow to be large. Let's have a border, and then let's have a border color, say border white, 20. And then let's have a rounded edges, so say rounded to be large. And then let's have a padding of 6, and let's have a max width of small. So let's see how it looks again. So you can see we have that effect of, yes, we have this effect, small effect of a backdrop, you can see, and then the background, you can see it. So let's now style this h2 tag. Style the h2 tag, so we'll say class. We want this text font size to be 2XL, so we'll say text 2XL. We want it to be bold, semi-bold, so font semi-bold. And then we want the text color to be white, so text white. And let's have a margin at the bottom to be 3. Okay, so if we go back to and refresh, so yes, so you can see we have this being white and the text is now larger. Let's continue. Now let us style our p tag. So let's have a class and say text to be white, but not pure white. So let's say white at 80, and then let's check it out as well. So let's go back. You can see we have that. And lastly, let us style this button. Say class, you want to have a margin top of 4, so empty is 4. And then let's have a padding of y-axis of 2, so that we can have a space between the p tag and the button. Okay, and then let's have a background of white 20%. And then let's have a text to be white. Then let's have a rounded edges to be large. Let's have a shadow large, and then let's have a hover effect. So hover effect, so we want to hover whenever we hover, the background changes. So we say background to be white but at 30%. And then let's have a transition. Okay, so if we go back, you can see we have this effect, but we need to adjust the padding at x-axis. So let's have say px equals to 4, so that we can have some space on the x-axis. So let's try. So px 4, let's see again. Now it looks nice, and whenever we hover it, you can see the background changes. So that is it for today's video. You know now how to create a Glassmorphism card using Tailwind CSS. This design trend is perfect for modern websites, portfolios, and even dashboards. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more web design tips and tutorials. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you may never miss an update. Have questions or want to share your designs? Drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy coding.